Hey guys, welcome back to For Real Guide, and if you're new here, welcome. I have a really great video in store for you guys today. Another self-love, self-care video. Now, I've been talking a lot lately about relationships, what a good relationship looks like, what a bad relationship looks like, breakups, things like this. So this video is hopefully going to propel you forward into a better life after a breakup. So without further ado, let's get into the 7 self-care habits that you should definitely incorporate into your life after a bad breakup. So the first self-care habit that you should incorporate into your life after a bad breakup is to practice new activities. So when somebody asks you, hey, what have you been up to after a bad breakup? You may respond with sleeping all day or crying myself to sleep every night. That's super normal for maybe a couple days or a week after a breakup. You have to give yourself some time to heal, but you don't want to get into that continuous loop of poor coping mechanisms or being down and depressed because you broke up with somebody. There's a lot of different things to distract yourself so you can give yourself time to heal and cope and improve your life after a breakup. Some of these might include learning a new language or going out with friends, going to lunches with friends more, feeling uplifted by other people's presences. That is super, super important to choose these good coping mechanisms so that you give yourself some time to cope and heal in a more productive way instead of a not productive way. The second habit that you should include into your day-to-day life after a bad breakup is to practice self-care. Taking care of yourself is really critical after a bad breakup. I mean, think about it. Your significant other was literally taking care of you, providing you love and affection and attention, giving you that boost of serotonin every time you see them for the last couple weeks, months, maybe even years. So you need to get comfortable with doing those things for yourself. Maybe it's taking a bubble bath every day. Maybe it's treating yourself to ice cream every other day or watching your favorite movie every single night if you have to. Whatever it takes to replace that feeling of emptiness with that feeling of a boost of serotonin, a boost of wholeness that your partner used to give you, you have to start doing that to start feeling normal. The third habit to incorporate into your life after a bad breakup is to forgive yourself and your ex. This is really difficult to do. Maybe your ex did something really bad. Maybe it was all their fault. Or maybe you did something bad. Maybe you're the reason that the breakup happened. Regardless, having a feeling of guilt or having a feeling of resentment is literally holding you back from your greatest potential and your ability to cope in a healthy way. Learn to forgive yourself if you messed up and learn to forgive your ex, because in the end, hanging on to those bad feelings is only going to hold you back. And this definitely takes time. So don't think that the day after a breakup, everything is going to feel fine and dandy. It definitely takes a little bit of time, but I recommend maybe journaling or talking to people about it and thinking about maybe some of the good things that came out of the relationship, some of the lessons that have been learned, and feel grateful for the experience. Again, this takes time, so don't worry about that. The fourth habit to incorporate into your life after a bad breakup is to set healthy boundaries. After a breakup, you're going to spend some time alone, or you're going to replace being with your ex with being with other people, other friends. And you need to be super, super intentional about who you spend your time with. There's a couple different things that I mean about this. One, you might want to set a healthy boundary with your ex. A lot of times they'll want to be reaching out or maybe even get back together with you. And you need to think about if that's the best decision for you. Maybe if they just keep bugging you or literally harassing you, that can also completely derail your mission to cope and move on. So you need to make sure that you're setting boundaries with your ex and then also with other people. There might be people who honestly are celebrating your loss of a relationship or are helping you in a very negative way with poor coping skills, and you want to improve in the best way you can. So be intentional with who you're spending your time with, and if you need to spend time alone, that's okay too. The fifth habit to incorporate in your life after a bad breakup is to look at the silver lining. This is super easy advice to give to someone after a breakup, but super hard advice to accept after a breakup. But you have to look at the silver lining. There's always lessons hidden in a breakup. You're going to learn more about yourself and honestly how you cope with things. You're gonna learn that maybe this isn't the type of person you want to spend your time with. I think that journaling, talking to a therapist, talking to friends is a great way to figure out the lessons, and honestly just sitting with the feeling of sadness and uncomfort and even loneliness can be really healing for you to figure out what the lessons were. So the sixth habit to incorporate into your life after a bad breakup is to give yourself time to grieve. You just lost a huge part of your life, and that's a really difficult thing to deal with. And while it's really good to go and distract yourself, learn new things, be with friends after a breakup, you also need to give yourself time to rest. You don't want to just push down all of the trauma or the feelings that you're experiencing. Sometimes it's good to just sit and deal with it. And sometimes you need to set boundaries and step away from your normal activities. Maybe you need to not work for a couple days. You're literally going through something that is maybe a little bit or maybe a lot traumatic. So I think it's really, really important to give yourself that time for yourself. You are your number one priority, not your work, not your friends, not your family, you. The seventh and final habit to incorporate into your life after a bad breakup is to remind yourself to not give up on love. After a bad breakup, you're probably feeling like, well, that's it. I'm a failure at love. No one's ever gonna love me. I'm never gonna get married or whatever. I think we've all been there. But you need to know that you can't let something like this tear you down no matter how traumatic it was. Because there's other people out there that are literally so much better than your ex. I've had a lot of exes and I've seen it time and time again. I think that no one else will compare, and then guess what? Someone else comes along who's so much better. So don't be so down and out, and remind yourself this often. It'll help you grieve and it'll help you get over it faster. Well, you guys, that's it. Those are 7 habits to incorporate into your life after a breakup. A lot of these are easier said than done, but something cheesy that I always tell my friends who are going through this is that time really does heal everything. Remember that you are your number one priority and you've got this. I know it's hard right now, but it'll get better. And if you haven't done already, please like and subscribe so you're constantly seeing more and more self-love, self-care videos. And let me know in the comments which ones worked for you, which ones didn't, or any other ideas that you have for after a bad breakup. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Hang in there, and I'll see you in the next one.